students, we are on lesson 4-8, and we're going to multiply with decimals that are greater than 1. So I have a couple of problems here, and I see that this is a decimal, but it's greater than 1. We have a greater than 1 decimal in each one of these problems, and nothing really changes. We will count our decimals, we'll have them go to Decimal Island, go on vacation, and then when we're done multiplying, we'll have them come back in, okay? So I'm going to take 1, 2, those two spots to get the decimal out in both numbers, and now I'm just going to multiply 26 times 7. 7 times 6 is 42, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and then I have two spots to put my decimal in. So I'm going to go 1, 2, and there's my answer, okay? We don't carry the decimal down, we don't line the decimals up. When we're multiplying, we take them out, and then we put them back in at the end. Let's take these out. 1, 2, 3. So I have 3 moves to get all my decimals out, and now I'm just going to multiply 823 times 6. 6 times 3 is 18. 6 times 2 is 12. 1 more is 13. 6 times 8 is 48. 1 more is 49. And then I'm going to put 3 moves to get my decimal back in. 1, 2, 3. And there's my answer. Notice there is no lining up of the decimals. There is 1, 2, 3 spots here. So 1, 2, 3 spots to get the decimal back in. Same thing over here. Say goodbye to the decimal. 3 moves for the decimal to go on vacation. And now you just have 721 times 3. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 7 is 21. And then I have 3 moves to put the decimal back in. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's do a little bit more practice. 1, 2. We have 2 spots to get the decimal out, so we'll get 2 to get back in. And we'll multiply like normal. 9 times 1 is 9. 9 times 6 is 54. 9 times 4 is 45. Plus 5 is 50. 9 times 4 is 36. 36 plus 5 is 41. Whoops. 9 times 2 is 18. 19, 20, 21, 22. Okay. Now we have 2 moves to get the decimal back in. 1, 2. Okay. And you know, I like to look at my answer for verification. All right, I have this whole number, 241 and 1/10 times something smaller, 9/10. My answer should be bigger than this one, but smaller than this one, because I multiplied by a decimal, and that checks out, so it's probably right. Again, I'm going to move this 1 and 2, so 3 moves total, and then multiply like normal. Just multiplying 78 times 15. So 5 times 8 is 40. 5 times 7 is 35, plus 4 is 39. I'm done with my ones place. I'm going to put a 0 as a placeholder. 1 times 8 is 8, and 1 times 7 is 7. Add that up. And I have 3 moves to get the decimal back in. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And last is this one. Again, 1, 1, 2, so total of 3 spaces to move, and I'm just going to multiply 11 times 11, which I happen to know is 121, and I'm going to put 3 decimal spots in. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to add a 0 there to make that look a little bit nicer. Okay, let's take a look at our multiplication properties. We have the commutative, associative, and distributive properties that we're going to look at in terms of multiplication, okay? So the commutative property just means that I can switch my terms when I multiply, and my answer will be the same. The associative property kind of means the same as the commutative, that you can switch your terms, but the associative property usually has parentheses. And it says that if I'm told to multiply A times B first and then C, I don't have to do it that way. I can multiply B and C first and then multiply it by A. Because the associative property of multiplication means I can multiply whichever numbers I want to first when it's all multiplication. The distributive property is a little bit different. There are parentheses in the distributive property, but there is also addition, okay? So when you see the parentheses, if there's parentheses and addition, that's distributive. If it's just parentheses, that's associative, okay? With the distributive property, that says that if I have A times B and I'm adding that to A times C, then I can just add B and C first and then multiply it by A. Let's take a look at how we would apply some of these properties to these two problems. The first problem I have is 25 times 5 7/100 times 4. Well, the parentheses tells me that I'm supposed to multiply that first, but the associative property tells me I can put my parentheses wherever I want to when it's multiplication, and I can multiply something else first. For instance, I see 25 and 4. Whenever I see 25, I always think of quarters, and if I have 4 quarters, I know that's $1 or 100. So I am going to choose to first multiply 25 times 4, get that answer, and then multiply that answer times 5 7/10. So that would be 100 times 5 7/10. And I know that when I multiply with the hundreds, it's so easy. I'm just going to say 57 times 100, right? So 5700, and there's 1 decimal spot there, so 1 decimal spot there, okay? And my answer would be 570 when I multiply it, which would be a little bit easier. Okay, taking a look at, let's see, this next one. I see that this is 3 7/10 times 8 2/10, so I have to multiply these two numbers, and then 1 8/10 and 3 7/10, and I have to multiply these numbers and then take both of these and add them up. But I also see that this is in common. So instead of multiplying twice and then adding, I'm just going to multiply once. I'm going to take 3.7 out, and I'm going to multiply that by 8.2 plus 1.8. So I'm going to take these two terms here, put them together with my addition, and then multiply it by 3.7 to get my answer. And when I add this up, that makes a nice even 10, right? That's 10 times 3.7, super easy. I just write 37 and a 0, and I have 1 place value there. So 1 place value there. My answer would be 37. So these properties can help us multiply because we can switch things around, so it makes us easier.